I mean, to be completely honest, the way that I am is completely because of my childhood programming. Like, do you ever really think about that? Like, go back and think about everything like you thought about yourself, or like things that people told you, you told yourself as a kid. That shit sticks with you throughout your life. Hello everyone, my name is Nikki, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about something very near and dear to my heart, and that is getting comfortable with your own company. For those of you who know me, I am very self-proclaimed independent. I do a lot of things by myself. I love taking myself out on dates. I have no problem traveling alone. This has been like a long process where I've learned how to be okay with my own company. And I think that a lot of people have shame around it, and there is shame in society, like when you are doing things alone. So we're gonna talk about it. I wanna talk about sort of my journey with it, why I think it's so important, how to get over the weirdness of it, and then some fun ideas to take yourself out on a date and to get comfortable with your own company. I grew up mostly as an only child. I have an older brother and sister, but they're way older than me, so by the time I was growing up, they were already out of the house. So as you can imagine, I sort of had to figure out how to, you know, keep myself busy. I would always play games with myself and, you know, play dress up, and of course I had friends, but when I was like young before I started dance, so like 5 years old, I didn't have school. You know, I would, I don't know, be downstairs in the basement playing with my Barbies and Polly Pockets, and that was maybe the start of it. Then I don't really think I was aware of my independence or like doing things by myself until maybe about high school, like when I would start driving. And like this whole time I've always been very introspective. I always would journal. I've kept a consistent journal since the 6th grade, which is really funny to look at. My dad's also a therapist, so he and my mom always, like, we would talk about things. I would think about like metaphysical things and like, what is my place on this earth, and like, what is my purpose, and ask myself like, what do I like to do? That's just what I do for fun. I still do that kind of stuff for fun. I know that's not everyone's vibe, but just to preface everything, that's sort of where I was coming from. So in high school, I started driving. I would just do things by myself, go to the grocery store by myself, go shopping for myself. I don't know, I remember the first like big thing that I did truly by myself, besides like, you know, go get lunch at Chipotle or Panera or something like that. When I went to Vancouver to visit my brother the summer after my senior year of high school, and he was working that time, so during the day I was by myself exploring a new city. This was before I was like Miss World Traveler, so I like was scared to do things, scared to like use public transportation, but I went to a movie by myself, so that sort of became my thing. Even now, I love going to movies by myself. I always go to a matinee. I always get the kids like snack box with like a small popcorn and some fruit snacks and like a soda, and usually I see something really cheesy. I remember when I was in Vancouver, I saw like The Secret Life of Pets or something like really like a kid's movie, but I like, it's a guilty pleasure and I want to see it. So that was my big thing. Initially it was weird because I'm like, I was 18 at the time. I'm like, I'm 18 surrounded by all of these children and their parents. But you know, whatever. I slowly started doing more things when I got to college. I came to Baltimore, obviously. I would go to New York by myself, go to DC for the day just to go to a yoga class, like go to dinner by myself. Not all the time, every once in a while. Like, I have amazing friends and like I'm very blessed in that department. And I have no trouble hanging out with people, but I get my energy by being by myself. I need to recharge. When I'm social for too long, like I just turn into a mean person, so I have to be by myself. And I really cherish those moments by myself, whether it's just like going to a coffee shop for an hour and journaling, or if it's spending a whole day in DC and, you know, doing all the things that I want to do. When I was abroad, I obviously spent a lot of time by myself because I was abroad, I was traveling, I was doing things, and that was really incredible. And I learned that the times that I was quote unquote alone, I never really feel alone. Like, there's so many people out there, and when you open yourself up to the world opens up to you. And I truly, truly believe that. Sometimes I do find it hard to balance that, like giving myself alone time, whether it just be like being in my room or going out, again, like I said. But for me, it's definitely like alone time, self-care to the max. And it has shaped me into who I am today. If I haven't spent so much time like just with myself, journaling about myself, reading, like figuring out who I am, asking myself these questions to get to know like the core of my being, like who do I want to be in this world, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be so okay in my body and myself. I wouldn't be able to accept myself. I would have a hell of a lot harder time loving others. I truly think we have to go inside in order to go out, if that makes sense. But enough about me. I want to help you. I think that learning how to be okay in your own company, it's so important. I know people say it all the time and it becomes very cliche, but it is a skill. I see it as a superpower almost. The fact that I'm able to do whatever I want on my own. Sometimes it is a curse because I just do things and I don't think about them, but nonetheless, I think it's an amazing practice. And especially when you are like just trying to figure out who you are, you have to sit with yourself. You have to be okay with being alone and with the unknown and with your shadow side. You have to be okay with, you know, your demons per se. And I don't really see any part of yourself as a demon. There might be parts that you don't love as much, but that just means you have to love harder. I've never been in like a typical romantic relationship, but I have had amazing friendships and relationships in my life that have taught me a lot. But I think because I haven't spent my time or energy in the whole romance thing, that's sort of given me like a boost to be like, okay, Nikki, you're forced to figure out who you are. And I know a lot of people don't have that, so it's more of a conscious choice, and they have to set out to, you know, be okay with themselves and spend time with themselves. But honestly, it's worth it. It's worth the pain. It's worth being uncomfortable. It's worth the nitty gritty, like getting down to it, like facing who you truly are. Because when you get out of that and you can step out into the world and say, this is me, when you can step out into the world and say, this is me, this is who I am, accept me, love me, and if you don't, then you're not supposed to be my life. That is the most empowering feeling, and like just being okay with who you are. I'm not saying it's easy. It's taken me, I'm 21, gonna be 22 in April, and I'm still not all the way there. I still doubt myself. I still second guess myself. I still have shame from things that I've been carrying around my whole life. But I'm getting there. I'm working on it. Every time that I take the time out of my day, out of my week, out of my month to just do exactly what I want to do and just sit with myself and be like, you know, my company is okay. I don't need anyone else here to fill the space. I can just be here, and that is okay. It's pretty freaking crazy, and it's amazing, and I encourage everyone to explore that and explore themselves and who they are at the core. And I think the sooner you do it in life, the more powerful, the more time you have to be in service to others. Because when you're so strong in your core, you're okay stepping outside of yourself and serving others, serving the world, and truly making a difference in this world. And now, if you're later on in life, you're not late too. Better late than never, I always say. It's a skill that any day of your life, if you work on it, that is something you're doing for yourself. That is powerful. How many things do we truly do just for ourselves, just to feel good, just to get to know ourselves? No hidden agenda, no, oh, this looks good on my resume, oh, I'm doing this for so-and-so, oh, I'm doing this to advance in the world. I mean, you kind of are, but you're doing it for yourself, and that's it, and you don't have to explain that to anyone. So how do we get over this weird hump of I'm alone, what do I do now? It is weird, and I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes I take myself to dinner and I do feel uncomfortable and I am on my phone, but you know what, you gotta own it. Fake it till you make it. They always say that, I always do that, and like if you make it weird, then people are gonna think it's weird, you know what I mean? Like if you make it awkward, it's gonna be awkward, but it doesn't have to be. Like you don't have to bring attention to yourself and be like, oh no, like I'm sorry, like I'm by myself. Like no, be like, I'm by myself, table for one, like give me everything. I once was in Manchester last year, there for like a couple hours before my flight the next morning, and I went to this really fancy restaurant, like one of the best restaurants in the city, and I randomly happened upon it, and I sat down. Everyone was like on these romantic dates and like having these lavish nights. I was sick as a dog. I was in like not a nice outfit, and I sat down. I ordered probably half the menu, like way too much food for like one person, but I sat and took my time. I talked to the waiter and I was like, oh, like tell me about yourself, and I like ordered all this food, and it was amazing. I was like, okay, yes, it would have been great to be with someone else because I could have tried more food, but it was so nice to just sit and enjoy the food and think about like my travels and where I am in life and like the things that I'm thinking and people watching. Like it's so fun. Like maybe that's just like my weird thing. Once you practice and you get used to it and you just accept that being with yourself is completely okay, you can have such a fun time. Like I've had the best times by myself, and that's not to say the lighting here is really bad. I'm so sorry. This clouds keep going over the sun. But yeah, it takes time to get over the weirdness of it. Like sometimes it's still weird. I'm still on my phone. I bring a book to dinner sometimes and I read that, and you know, that's fine. That's cool. You don't have to just sit there and stare ahead of you. You can bring things, especially like as you're getting used to just sitting with yourself, bring things to keep you busy. Bring your journal. I love going to coffee shops and just journaling for a couple of hours. And start small. Just go sitting in a park for 30 minutes by yourself and listen to the birds chirp and watch the kids play. Oh, that's pretty cliche. Start by going to a coffee shop or going somewhere like a little like fast casual, like Chipotle, Qdoba, Honey Grow. Start by doing those little things, or like going grocery shopping by yourself, or going shopping. Like look at your schedule and look at every single thing that you do with someone and see if there's times where you can do it by yourself and where you can just sit with yourself and relax and maybe journal. Maybe it's going to bed an hour earlier and sitting in your room and journaling and reading and maybe meditating, asking yourself these questions. When I say journaling, that's just my like way of processing. If you have a better way of processing, I have a friend who he goes out on walks in nature and that's how he processes. That's totally okay too. I'm just talking about taking out time in your schedule to just be with yourself. This is more than just like taking yourself out on dates. That's amazing, and I think everyone should do it at least once a month, but it's just a personal goal for me. Just being with yourself. Think about your day. So many people, and I fall into this same trap too, so many people spend every single second of the day with someone, and when they're not with someone, they're like in class or they're doing homework, or there's never time left out to just be with yourself and to just do something for yourself. This is self-care. Getting to know yourself, I see it as a form of self-care, because if I don't know myself, I can't care for myself. I can't love myself. Does that make sense? You get that? I know it's a lot. I'm really rambling right now. I'm just sitting down with my cup of turmeric ginger tea. I woke up a couple hours ago. I'm about to eat breakfast, so I'm kind of hungry, so maybe that's why I'm rambling. But I hope you understand, like, anyone who knows me knows that I am the biggest advocate for this kind of stuff. Like, it has truly changed my life, and I wish that everyone could feel the sense of freedom and acceptance in who they are and with just being with themselves. There's no shame. I carried around so much shame with me for so many years of my life because I've never been in a relationship. No, I have complete choice. There's a reason why everything is happening. If I really wanted to be in a relationship that bad, I would have been in one by now. Like, there are so many people in this world, so many people that have come into my life, so many amazing people that have been in my life, but I chose that I wanted to honestly date myself first. I wanted to fall in love with myself first, and I'm not saying that doing that first is the right way. Honestly, everyone's journey is different, but I do think that part of my purpose is to advocate for this and to help other people find this same acceptance and love, and just like knowing that you're right where you're supposed to be and you don't have to be with someone every single minute of the day. We're humans. We are hardwired for connection. And I'm not saying that you have to completely isolate yourself. Many years I spent thinking that I could only depend on myself. I could only truly trust myself and be with myself, and I had to isolate myself to the world, and I was going to be by myself forever, and I just wanted to travel the world and be by myself and do the damn thing. But I don't feel that way anymore. I'm comfortable doing these things by myself. The universe has it so I never am in a relationship, and I do live in this world alone, which is not really true because we're never truly alone. Like, think about all the people that love you. And it's okay. I know I can do it, but I don't want that. I want connection. I want love. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to get to know new people. I want to expand my community. I want to fall in love multiple times, and that's okay too. I have this big block where I think in order to be independent, you have to be alone. That's not true. You can be independent, you can be your own person. You don't have to lose yourself in relationships and friendships and anything. You can have that connection and that just like belonging in the world. But if the way I see it, again, this is just my opinions and the way that I have experienced the world, I had a really hard time finding belonging in the world when I didn't know myself, because I didn't know where I fit. Does that make sense? I'm talking a lot. This is what happens when I'm like by myself for too long. I start talking to myself, but that's why I love recording these things, because it's like I'm not really talking to myself, but I am. So cheers to that, friends. I sort of talked about this before, but what do you do by yourself? How do you take yourself on dates? Honestly, whatever you want to do. Think about one thing that you've really been wanting to do, like anything. I know this year I really want to do a ceramics class, like throw clay on the wheel. I really want to do it. I think my friends will do it with me, but if not, I'm gonna take myself on a date and do it. I really wanted to go to a So Far Sounds show in Baltimore this past weekend, which is like a really small intimate concert with local artists, and like they release the artists when you get there, so you don't know who it is. I've been wanting to go to those for so long. So I was spending the weekend, didn't really have many plans, so I took myself to a restaurant that I had been wanting to try for months, and then I went to the show and I sat and I listened to the music and I had a great time. Hardly talked to anyone. You know, these things that we take ourselves out on, like when you're with friends, when you're with people, you can meet people, but you could also not. And when you're by yourself, there's no shame in not talking to anyone. You don't have to be social. You can be social. You don't have to be. I love traveling by myself, but I know that that's a big step for a lot of people. So maybe have a day in the city that you're living in. Explore something new, try a new restaurant, go to a new coffee shop. Baby steps. Don't expect yourself to go on this 10-day long European solo travel trip or like 6-month long thing immediately. You have to learn. Like, it's baby steps. The way I see it, it's like training for a marathon. You gotta train. You can't just run all those miles immediately. I think I talked enough. This was long. I hope that some of it resonated with you. I hope that you take some of my advice if it resonates and spend some time with yourself. Again, it doesn't have to be anything big. It can just be going to bed an hour earlier so you can journal and meditate and put on your candles and read. It's as simple as that. Let me know if you take yourself on a date. I would love to hear about it. And if you navigate this year or whenever you're watching this and you want to figure out who you are and get to know yourself a little bit better and just get comfortable with being with yourself, let me know. I'm here to help. Slide into my DMs. I love talking to you all. I love helping in any way that I can, and I would love to share experiences with you all. I think that being okay with being with yourself is one of the most powerful things that we can learn to do in this lifetime. And I hope that I can be a little shining light in that and sort of like boost you on your journey. I hope that you all have a beautiful day and beautiful rest of your week whenever you're watching this. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below a fun date idea that you have. Follow me on Instagram, and I will be back another time to talk about something like this, probably with some more tea because I love tea. Okay, I love you all. I will talk to you soon.